Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls, Book 7, under a Red Moon, Chapter 80, For Whom the Bell Trolls. And we'll find out what that's all about in just a few minutes when we get to the recap. Oh, look at that. We're going to do a little camera jumbling here real quick because... I was about to say Cari was running late, and Cari is now here.
Just to clarify, Cari was late, so.
Well, you can take that up with Cari.
No, you said that she was running late, but she was late, so I just, it's all good.
She's up, here now, bitches?
She's here now. It's fine. I'm just, pointing out that she was late.
Right.
Hi, everybody. Oh my God, the gang is all here except for Dwight. M's back from the wilderness. I'm not late.
What?
Oops.
I'm sorry?
No, you were quite late.
I'm so sorry. I had athletic conquest to be a part of.
We forgive you, obviously. It's just
Thanks.
Noted for the log.
Did you conquer at least?
Teera. Oh, you're goddamn right. I did. Teera's been standing here looking tough the whole time.
I mean, we haven't really started, but
I literally just said, "Hey, internets, it's Jake." So.
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't do the 18-minute announcements yet. You still got like 20 minutes.
I didn't. Yeah.
Perfect.
Actually, tonight there's not going to be any announcements. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, there's going to be announcements. There's a couple. First and foremost is, of course, if you look above M's head, right over here, you will see that the gang currently has 31 domain tomes. Domain tomes or domain dice are a way that you, the audience, can influence the game by resubscribing, tipping, cheering, all those good things. And they have a few things they can do with domain tomes in this game. Those are all in the chat, but they can use them for a variety of effects. More often than not, using them like a hero point to re-roll and take a new roll. Check our schedule. Games are starting to get back on track. We've had a couple games that were on a brief hiatus. So we'll see what comes up with that. We're tentatively, I say tentatively, most likely there will be a special episode of Mythos Investigators, Lauderville, this Wednesday. And then I think, would we say the 30th is when we're doing the regular regular game? So that'll be that's a Saturday or a Sunday. I don't remember. But it'll be around the same time, and we're going to just go ahead and do that live, so you can tune in for that. And of course, on Thursdays we have our Kids on Bikes game. We didn't play last week there was some sickness involved, so we didn't play last week. But if you miss any of our games, you can always tune into youtube.com/mini-terrain-domain and catch up on the VODs. The only other thing that I want to mention before we get started here is just a reminder that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it is true. We know that there are a variety of reasons that people can struggle. Firstly, it is okay to not be okay. Everybody struggles here and there, but you do not need to struggle alone. At any time, you can type !help in the chat, and some URLs will pop up. They will also be available along the bottom of the screen, and they'll pop up in chat periodically. But please check out findahelpline.com or check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. We encourage you to check out those websites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, Cari, what time is it?
It's time to find some paths, bitches. I made it on time for the thing, Cari. I think that means
I didn't know what
late.
I was going to do. I was going to have to say it myself.
It wouldn't be the same.
I was going to ask
5
Flip.
minutes early is 20 minutes late.
I was going to ask Flip to do it.
Wow, that's some real boomer ideology there, Gary. Just
So,
I said what I said.
by way of recap, our most recent events, after taking the night to rest up, well, during the rest, Vornush'ka had a conversation in her dream with the Blood Axe. And there was a little bit of give and take there. Vornush'ka doesn't seem to want to fully submit to the Blood Axe, but is at least taking it up and using some of its powers for herself. I'm sure there will be no ramifications the more she uses the Blood Axe. But prior to going into this rest, Marda had finished up a period of watch and had gone to wake up Flip, and then went to her tent to sleep. Flip never got up, so nobody was on guard. And you all woke up with swords and daggers at your throats, as a trio of rangers snuck up on you while you were sleeping. And they eventually decided you weren't a threat, and they lowered their weapons. They introduced themselves as Jakardris, Vale, and Caven. And they had explained that they are part of the Order of the Black Arrows, a sort of mercenary order that is dedicated to the protection in these woods and surrounding areas of Varisia. Often people go into the service of the Black Arrows, ex-criminals, people ostracized from their lands or whatever. It's very much like taking the Black in Game of Thrones. Like joining the Night's Watch. It's kind of in that same vein. But they were explaining to you all what was going on with the Skulls Crossing, the 10,000-year-old Thessalonian structure that was built on the Skull River to hold back the waters of the Storval Deep. And they noted a most peculiar thing happening, that the trolls had got into a fight. Some trolls had gotten into a fight with some ogres on the bridge. Ogres were trying to destroy, and ultimately did destroy, part of the bridge, which led to the initial flooding of Turtleback Ferry. But the trolls fought back the
Totally tubular, dude.
right.
That would be amazing. That would be a great plot twist.
The trolls fought off and killed the ogres, and are strangely partially rebuilding the dam. At least it appears enough that they'll be able to cross over it. But the Rangers have said it's more than just the fact that the trolls are occupying and behaving strangely on this crossing. Looking at the face of the dam, you see the giant skull mechanisms are partially open, allowing water to seep out. And they are concerned that the floodgates are malfunctioning. The trolls won't pay attention to that, and if they're not dealt with soon, the floodgates will malfunction, or the dam could break, and Turtleback Ferry and all of its inhabitants will be lost. And the Rangers have asked for your help in either negotiating with the trolls or killing them. They don't care how you deal with it, but they would like you to go down and deal with the trolls. And that is basically where we left off. I did mention, just so that M/Marda was aware, seeing that you were all in quite a state, and had been in some recent fights. One of the rangers gave you an expanded healer's kit, or healer's tools. So that is extremely important when it comes to treating wounds, and things like that, for recovering hit points and recovering the wounded condition. So that is where you are currently. The Rangers have asked for your help. You're looking down on this bridge, or this crossing, really, this dam, that is, you're on a cliff overlooking it, where you've set up camp. It's near the end of the day, so you basically have another night to discuss and plan what you would like to do. With that, what would you like to do?
Okay, look. This is the plan. Have any of you ever done improv?
What's improv?
It's a comedic art form that's sometimes called the lowest form of comedy. You basically just make things up on the spot.
Well, I've made stuff up on the spot.
I mean,
I didn't know that was a comedic art form.
I mean, it should be like convincing and coherent and
Oh, believe me,
not
it had to be
embarrassing.
convincing when I did it. Embarrassing? I
yeah,
don't
embarrassing
understand.
for you.
Why do we want to be embarrassed?
Wait. In improv, this is a word my brother would say
Yes.
from his books that he would read. It's basically yes and. So
That's right. That's the
whatever
main rule.
whenever someone says you can't, if he say, "Oh, Teera, you have a flower on your head," you can't say, "I don't have a flower on my head." You have to say, "Yes, and the flower is a giant sunflower with, seeds and petals." And then I say, "Yes, and it is stinky and it makes you smell better because it's less it's right."
I think I understand. I don't think I'll be very good at it. Should I just keep my mouth shut and look?
Just say
big
yes and.
Yes,
Yeah,
and.
I mean, typically, you keeping your mouth shut is the strategy that is key to effective everything, really.
I feel like I should be pissed, but I'm choosing not to be.
Think
yes,
of it like
and
yes.
you're
Yes,
growing
and.
as a person.
Yes. So think of it as like, when orcs we have our celebrations and they'd be like, "Yes, and I punched him in the face," and you'd be like, "Yes, and I chopped him with the axe."
Yes!
And I did this.
Oh, okay. I understand now. Flip, why
Yeah.
didn't you just fucking say that? That makes sense to me. So you can see who's the biggest, baddest badass.
Not really. You're not trying to, the way Vaughn would
You're
say it,
seeing-
it's more of a handshake and less of a top on top.
Oh. So we're shaking hands. We are not arm wrestling. It's not a competition. It's a team exercise.
That's right. So basically, we're going to go down there.
Okay.
We're going to talk to these trolls.
Okay.
And I'm going to be weaving a tale, a grand tale of why they have to do what we want them to do and how it actually benefits them. And then all of you are going to say, yes.
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 And
And
Flip is
what
handsome.
do we say after yes and?
Flip is handsome.
Flip his hands.
yes, and
You can't fool me, you little green shit. And Teera would kind of laugh and go into the woods and start to. Are we camping tonight? Is that the plan?
I mean, it's night and you've already set up a camp, or it's
So,
evening. You have a camp
Teera
set
would
up.
put a rack onto the fire and start cooking something, whatever we have.
There was this one time in Absalom where I was the guest of the first nudist improvisational troupe in the city called the Blue Moons. It really was quite the night.
Teera's totally not listening.
Vornush'ka is staring.
I'm famous, Vornush'ka. I've been around the block, if you want to excuse the parlance.
And Vornush'ka kind of like looks around like nudish.
Nudist. No, I was the guest. I mean, I was naked, but I wouldn't consider myself a nudist.
Being respectful of their customs.
Let me tell you, it was standing room only for that performance. Get it?
If I have ham hocks, and she points to her, muscular
Yeah.
quads,
Yeah.
you have little oranges for booty cheeks.
What?
And she starts laughing because she's imagining.
Have you ever seen an ass?
All the time.
He's gonna sort of look at Marda, and he's gonna be like, she has no idea what an ass looks like.
Marda's just like laughing. I don't like it. She just
I mean, that's cool. I'm not judging. Just two oranges? Weird, man.
It's a metaphor. It's a hyperbole. That's a Vorn word.
Oh. I don't know that's a metaphor exactly. I think it's a description of something. That's a different kind of word. Is that a simile where you're describing one thing like another thing?
How do all you chatterboxes want your meat?
Blue.
And Teera would just be like, Teera would go, service? And she would just like flip a raw ass piece of meat.
Wait. It's from the ass? Delicious. And he's gonna like his canine teeth are gonna
Vornush'ka, I assume you want yours as a hockey puck, yeah?
No, as bloody as possible. I want it barely alive.
And then here cat, she's Marda. Medium.
yes. I would like it to touch the fire, at least for a little bit.
Teera smiles and like she has like kind of like a big knife and just kind of goes like pushes it down so it sizzles a little bit.
All right. So you all can enjoy your meat. We'll assume the rangers did a little hunting and provided you with some venison, a couple rabbits, some wild root vegetables, things like that they've gathered.
Wow.
Um,
Good.
Yeah, they're rangers. You got 3 of them. I figure they can do some
Good in the
hunter
neighborhood.
gathering.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Let's see. Oh yeah, absolutely. Caven actually found a beehive, and you guys can have some honeycomb for dessert.
Oh, yum.
So if you want to do any more specific planning, you can do so. Or you can turn in for the night. You're fortunate that I still haven't figured out with Pathfinder 2e how to do random encounters and things like that for middle of the night. So
What a shame.
yeah, this night will pass pretty much uneventfully.
I have a question real quick. How's Marda looking? Is Marda looking strong or is she looking veiny and weird? Is she looking like she's ready?
You did get a full night's rest the night before.
Okay, yeah. So, and then Marta didn't spend anything. She's looking great. This is like the first full day that she's looked alive and fine.
Awesome. Next time somebody asks me how I am, I'm going to say I'm alive and fine. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Jake, could you remind me, because I'm forgetful, I know we don't get all our hit points back, but what is it? 3 times our con mod?
No, you get your con mod times your level.
Times your level. That's what it was. Okay.
Marda, or anybody actually, could attempt to do a treat wounds on you specifically to relieve you of your wounded condition.
I would, can she do that? Does that help with hit points too?
I can do a thing. Let me remember my character. 1 second.
I actually, and I don't, while Em is looking her character, or their character up, I don't remember, I don't have my wounded condition anymore. I don't remember how it got rid of it, but I don't have it anymore.
Somebody does. One of you has wounded.
I'm wounded because I got impaled. I'm not sure if I got rid of it.
Ricky got rid of his too. I
No,
think
you
the
get wounded.
Rangers-
You get wounded when you drop. Let's see. Yeah, you don't have the wounded condition. Maybe we resolved this last session.
I think
yeah,
one of the
nobody.
Rangers helped me.
Yeah, you don't have the wounded condition.
So yeah, so Teera's still kind of hurting for certain. If Marda does happen to have anything that could help with specifically HP, that would be super nice.
I do. Yeah, I have healing.
Super.
So
Great.
the-
So I guess Teera would kind of sidle up to Marda and being like, "Hey, so these woodsy fellas did their best, but I'm still kind of achy from the whole almost dying thing. So if there's anything you could do before we hit the sack, I'd appreciate it."
Yeah, she says, she nods and she's like, and she begins like, you see that she starts like creating some poultices and stuff, and she stops and she's like, I want to try something, and I don't want you to freak out.
Well,
She
that
says.
very much depends on what you plan on trying.
It will not affect you at all. I have a thought. You know how I've been getting a little bit under the weather if I if I overextend my healing abilities, but they seem to go away the next day. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I would like to try something.
Okay.
And she like places her hand on like your forearm or something.
Okay.
She closes her eyes, and you see that she begins to focus, and right away, you see the familiar looking like veins beginning to crawl up her neck, dark spots begin to form on her face and her forearms, and almost like, and you can see that it touches when her hand touches your forearm, the spider veins kind of extend beyond to yours, but you feel a lot better.
Good.
Okay, so you are I'm gonna be using one of my curses to cast Healer's Blessing, and then I am also going to do that. So that's 16 plus 18.
16 plus 18 or 18 total?
18 total.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
But how, like, so what would this narratively, what would Teera feel other than better? Anything in particular, or just better?
And imagine that Teera, I like to think that, you can almost feel, it feels different than normal healing. You feel the warmth, I would think, that comes with like a soothing like balm that comes with the healing that you normally feel, like, for example, like a flip healed you. This feels different, the same, but there's like this added, like, you can almost feel Marda's like life force also being put into this healing. Like the whole sense of Marda. Marda's a piece of Marda also goes into this healing as well, that you can feel.
So not just chicken soup, but like your mom's chicken soup. Got it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Got it. Totally. And Teera kind of like has a look on her face. She definitely like recognizes this what Marda has put into this, and she would just be like, "Thank you. That's much better."
Yeah, she looks down and she sees like the spider veins on her arms. Well, if it is as I expect, I should be completely feeling better by tomorrow.
And I would say, Marda, what's the end game for all of that? Can you be cured of that somehow? And that can't be good for you in the long run.
Marda shrugs. I think that my ability to heal and whatever this is, a piece of me that is being given, is one and the same. I do not think that if I somehow removed this effect, that I don't think that it would. I do think that I would also lose whatever ability I have. I do think that it comes from Pharasma. I do not know whether it is some kind of punishment or some kind of blessing from her.
Well, you've gone through a lot of gods. Maybe the next one will be nicer to you.
One can hope. To be honest, Pharasma has not been the worst. So, a little bit of scary veins, maybe not being able to be healed, having one of your companions think that you are somehow evil is not the worst thing that has happened to me.
And suddenly Teera like looks sympathetic, and because the thought crosses her mind, like, if this isn't the worst thing, then what is? But she decides to not press the issue. Teera would just kind of, well, thank you. I feel much better.
Marda nods.
When you say you feel much better, next to you, you hear Kane say, I don't exactly feel much better.
Well, you didn't ask.
Well, I've had my own share of experience with the toll that Pharasma exacts at the hands of Shadowheart.
Yeah.
And he kind of looks over at Marda. I'm not saying that I think you're evil. And I'm not saying that I'm worried about you being a danger to us, per se. But you talked about the affliction, whatever you call it. And that if you were to remove it, you might not be able to heal people. from what I've seen and the teachings of what I've heard from Shadowheart, that's the way of Pharasma. Balance. Pharasma seeks balance and judgment in the scales of life and death. If you are given some grand power to heal people the way you do, and that's given to you by Pharasma, then perhaps whatever it is that afflicts you is her way of ensuring that you don't take it too far.
Marda nods thoughtfully. You could be right. I could be lessening my days on this plane every time I cast the healing spell. That would, in my mind, be only fair.
Teera would kind of like crack her neck and be like, you need to be on this plane as long as we can keep you here, I say.
Marda reaches out, puts a reassuring hand on to Teera. You know, it is very rare that to come across such a kind-hearted person. And she just kind of she just leaves it at that and wanders off towards bed.
Teera would be kind of in this. She'd be kind of like she is already sitting on her bedroll, and as Marda kind of wanders off, she looks contemplative for a second, and then she turns to Kane and she said, "Did you see that? I'm a very kind-hearted person. Good night, Kane." And she would like lay back and curl up and go to sleep.
Vornush'ka, and on her own, leaning against the trunk of a tree, kind of grips her blood axe and she goes, I wouldn't necessarily say kind-hearted.
Do I hear that? I do not. Well, I don't know. Are you trying to keep it quiet?
It's kind of under your breath, like a snide.
I got a 21 perception. I hear it, but I don't say anything. I had been feeling like Vornush'ka was making progress, and now I'm not so sure. I don't trust that fucking axe. Gary, is Flip gently playing a lute or something? Can Flip gently be playing a lute or something?
Flip is humming his hit, Flip It Off. And like he's kind of like sort of half doing the dance moves, and like it seems like the dance moves are like really flipping off everybody like a machine gun. So
like a machine gun. Wow.
Flip it off, flip it off, flip it off.
That's awesome, dude.
Um,
Ugh.
I imagine as Flip does that for a little while, you, as the Rangers have taken up positions sort of at 3 points around the camp and have agreed to provide watch for all of you since you are dealing with the trolls tomorrow. You hear Caven as he takes watch, not far away, sitting there with his bow in his lap, and you just hear that just quietly humming it under his breath.
You're a worm.
And the morning and the evening were a day. The night passes uneventfully.
It's almost like God doesn't know how to do random encounters.
Oh,
That's nice.
in that time of your role playing, I found encounter tables, encounter builders, and how to roll for them. So I just decided,
Damn our gold RP moments.
you know what? Just for fun, Cari, I'm going to make you roll the flat check that determines whether or not there is a random encounter.
Okay. Is it just a D20?
It is a D20, so it's a flat check.
10. Right in the meat.
There
Right
would
in the
not have
middle
been
of
an
that bell
encounter.
curve.
There would not have been an encounter, so you're good.
Whew, you're welcome, everybody.
I mean, you can't thank us from averting a disaster that you caused.
Is it Flip talking or is that Gary? I can never tell anymore.
Why not both?
Where does Gary end and Flip begin?
Meta.
So Flip is gonna wake up, and he's put on his purple tunic, and he's wearing a golden sash on his waist that's delicately tied with a golden buckle. And he kind of like flips it, kind of like if it was a rodeo buckle. Like, I'm ready. It's business time.
Business. Well, let the rest of us get some breakfast first, Mr. Business. And Teera would get up and start cooking something. Would the Rangers have possibly found us eggs?
Grab your D100. Give it a roll.
93.
I rolled
That's pretty
35.
good.
No eggs for you.
Oh,
I mean, what kind of eggs are you gonna find in a troll forest? Never
A
mind.
forest? You don't think there's birds in a forest? Anyway.
Vornush'ka
And
is,
we're by a river. There's ducks. Sorry.
All right, sorry, jeez. So kind-hearted, Teera.
Vornush'ka is like grabbing a tree trunk, and she's doing this thing where she's like left hand on top, right hand on bottom, lifting over her shoulder to crack her back on both sides. And then like after getting a little stretchy, does like I'm gonna roll a 2d20s here.
Nice. Get it?
Between Ricky rolling random dice and Cari rolling her own perception checks, do you guys need me?
You're the master.
I was just gonna roll how many push-ups I did, and I did like 33 push-ups.
Flip is
And jumping
as
jacks.
everybody's looking at like doing their weird morning stuff. Flip kind of starts doing the moonwalk. He's like sliding back through the forest, and he's kind of got like the hip going.
Vornush'ka watches his heels and his like toe push, and she's like,
Sorcery.
and she kind of like mouths like, "What the like? How the fuck is he doing that?"
And so as he does that, as he finishes the steps, there's a chill wind that breezes through the air, and a little twinkle in his eye as the corners of his the tip of his nose gets just a little bit icy.
And
Good.
Vornush'ka stops from doing her like morning calisthenics, and she's like, "Flip,
Yeah,
you look like you were walking in place, but walking and moving as if you were walking on a slippery, icy surface.
yes.
What is this footwork? What kind of skill is this?"
It's called dancing. I invented it. No one has ever seen this particular technique before. It's called the
Yeah,
flip
and
walk.
it's blowing my mind.
I mean, would it take that much? No, I'm just kidding. We had a breakthrough last week. No. Yeah, it's called the flip walk. I invented it. No one ever thought of it before.
Can you potentially show me how you can push upon the heel and the toe? And
It's all in the
walk
hips,
place?
baby.
Flip is just doing backwards laps around the fire. Oh my god. Tira's moved on to coffee. Breakfast is over.
Yeah.
Tira's just kind of, yeah. Teera would be at this point, like, standing at that ledge we were at earlier, kind of, like, overlooking the bridge and just sort of getting a lay of the land again before we head down there.
Everybody role plays breakfast, dancing, healing. Nobody ever role plays for real. First thing when you get up in the morning, you got to go into the woods and take a dump. That's where Kane is. Kane comes back from the wood line buckling his pants.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's a dude.
Someone's had their morning constitution.
So, Teera,
Mm-hmm.
as you go to the edge, you find Jakardras,
Okay.
the older human man with the graying temples,
Mm-hmm.
the seeming leader of this particular group of Black Arrows. He is there. Actually, you know what? Make me a perception check.
I will. Here I go.
And I will
31.
31.
So perceptive, yeah.
Okay. For a moment, you walk out there and you start to walk up next to a bush, and then you realize that's not a bush. That's Jakardras. Blending in with the surrounding. You just barely beat his stealth DC.
Awesome.
And as you come walking up, he just kind of looks over at you and just kind of motions you down,
I crouch down.
and then points at the bridge and says, "They've been at it since sunrise." And you can see once again that the trolls are working with lumber, big logs that they've hauled in, and we just lost Ricky.
Oh no.
And they are roughly splitting them and working on a very, very rickety sort of scaffolding, I guess, to create this rough bridge over the gap in the crossing. And Jakardra says, "The big one hasn't been out yet, but I've been keeping an eye on them, and there seem to be 6 trolls besides the leader."
So 6 and the king.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of the 6, they all seem to be sharing pretty equally in the work.
Mm.
So, just to keep in mind, when you all head down there, it'll be the 5 of you in the face of 7 trolls. My men and I will keep overwatch.
Very convenient. Thank you for that.
As heroes do.
And Teera would smile and she would say, "Well, if anybody can talk them out of doing what they're doing, it's Flip back there. But on the off chance he can't, we're gonna have to blow up that fucking bridge."
Well, that's kind of the opposite of what we want.
Don't we want to get rid of the bridge so the dam can work right? I don't understand.
The bridge, let me back up to the previous session. The bridge that the trolls are constructing is over the gap that the ogres destroyed. They are, in the process of building this bridge, they are making it usable for them. I mean, if there's one thing trolls know, it's bridges, right?
That's funny.
The real problem is not so much where this gap is. They seem to have filled a lot of it in with the debris. There is a trickle there. The big problem with the dam is those 5 well, now 4 because one of them was destroyed, but those floodgates that look like giant skulls. The water is leaking out of those, and every once in a while you can see the jaw start to waver.
Okay.
Whatever the mechanism is that's inside the dam is failing. The trolls have to be dealt with so that you can get to the mechanism
Got it.
to prevent the floodgates from overflowing. If the floodgates fail, Turtleback Ferry will be lost.
Okay. So, if there's anybody that can talk them out of doing what they're doing, it's my boy Flip back there. But on the off chance he can't, we might have to sneak in and deal with that mechanism. All that said, you boys are pretty fucking sneaky. Would you mind handling that if we can't get those trolls to just leave? Or are we not willing to risk that?
We haven't even seen the inside. We don't know what the mechanism is.
Well, neither have we.
That's the whole point to you going down there. We can do our best from here, but if it's just us,
Okay.
the trolls would come after us.
Well, I'll tell you what. How about this? Should we give you some kind of a signal? If we need your help, or if we think it's a good idea for you to come down, will you trust us with that? If you see a red pennant or something like that?
As I said, we'll be keeping overwatch. If you have a signal to give, we'll see it.
All right, well, you'll know it when you see it, I guess.
As long as you're not blowing the bridge.
I'm not blowing the bridge. I misspoke. My brain had to be rejiggered. Well, best of luck then. If we never see you again, it's been real. And Teera would walk back towards camp. Well, are we ready to go not blow up a bridge?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, sorry, the plan is for Flip to just talk?
Convince them to leave.
Flip, do what I do.
Flip be flip.
It was determined last session. Flip is the only one in the party that speaks Jotun.
I speak Jotun, but I am not good at convincing people. Of
Flip is the
anything.
only one that speaks Jotun well.
I
Listen
mean,
here.
Marty, you gotta understand. In one of my books, Fliplosophy, I wrote one of the first chapter was called ABF. Do you know why I called it ABF, Marta?
No, but I know you're going to tell me.
You know that I'm going to tell you. It's because there's one key to a successful life. And that key, always be flipping.
A sage, that is what you are.
And as he says that and Marta responds, he picks up a small twig, drops it. And he starts walking down toward the trolls.
Teera looks very
What?
confused at the twig drop and looks at Marda also equally confused.
I have no idea why he did that. It
I-
makes no sense. Why would
Is
you
it
drop
like
it?
is it like a goblin thing? Is it offensive if we make fun of him for it? Is it like a dominance ritual?
Are we supposed to step on the twig or not?
Is it a religious thing? I have no idea. Let's just go. We'll tell him that whatever he wants to hear. Vornush'ka, you coming?
You're muted.
Vornush'ka, I can't hear you. It's some kind of an enchantment.
And Vornush'ka was lost in thought for like a good 4.5 minutes because her internet is trash. But
He was meditating.
yeah, she was lost in thought and seeing rivers of blood, and she kind of snaps back and kind of like the student who wasn't paying attention to class gets called on to read.
Oh,
it's like-
no. Oh, core memory.
Yeah. Yeah, and doesn't quite know what we're doing or where we're at, and lost track of the last, I don't know how long we've been walking for.
You just started walking.
We just kind of left camp.
No. And like she kind of sighs and release, like and she grips.
Teera would smile and put her hand on Vornush'ka's shoulder and be like, "Don't worry, I think all we have to do is go down there and look tough." And say yes and, apparently.
Yes. And we have no problem looking tough.
No, we do
Right?
not.
And
Yes,
puts out like a
and
fist bump.
Yeah, I give Vornush'ka a fist bump. And we walk.
And quietly she takes her dominant hand and puts it to the hilt of her axe, and she's like, "You and I are gonna have to have a conversation soon." And she kind of like says it under like a whisper as she keeps walking with the rest of the group.
What was that?
Yes, we'll need to talk soon as well.
Teera doesn't say anything. She just continues walking. And you're like, eh.
Yeah.
She's so focused on figuring out what fucking improv is, she doesn't have time for Vornush'ka's bullshit.
Wow.
As a refresher, it'll take you about an hour to work your way down out of the forest along the cliff trail down to the river's edge, where you saw, as it got closer to the Skulls Crossing, there was a set of stairs carved into the rocks. This was the one that had stakes driven all along it, all the way up the stairs. On every stake was a skull. Humans, bears, ogres, trolls, goblins, you name it, there's a skull there.
Yeah.
You are able to make that journey without incident. And so you're basically now standing at the bottom, looking up at this impressive 10,000-year-old Thessalonian structure that is easily 250 feet from the water to the top of this dam. And from down here, you can hear the sound of the water that is running down from the various floodgates of these skulls. And as you approach these stairs with the skulls all along them, you hear this sound of stone grinding against stone. And for a moment, the four remaining jaws drop several feet, and you see a torrent of water begin to rush out. And then there's this grinding of stone, and the jaws, with some difficulty, seem to rise back up and close off most of that water. Are you heading up the stairs?
Yes.
Teera is also like keeping a like radar lookout for trolls. I mean, it's pretty hard for a troll to sneak up on you, but you never fucking know.
Are you all walking stealthily? Are you just walking no stealth? What are you doing?
Walking normally, but Flip is looking for traps.
Okay.
I imagine Flip is in front since he's kind of the diplomat of the crew here.
I'm going to have you make perception checks.
And doobie.
Everybody can do that. I'll even roll for
Oh.
Kane here.
Shit. Teera is
I rolled a nat
perceptive today.
20 for Kane.
I rolled a 30.
What's
29.
Kane's perception? 29, 30, 33 for Kane.
24.
And Vornush'ka?
This will be 27.
Hey!
There we go. Looking around, smelling, listening, using eyes, ears, and,
As you're all
Nose
heading
is
up,
what you smell
nose.
with.
There we go.
as you're all heading up these stairs, you don't see any traps. There's no sign of any trapping. Whether it's because the ogres or trolls don't have the ingenuity to do this or the inclination, there does not appear to be any form of trap that's been placed on these stairs. Those of you that scored on the higher end of that, I would say even with Marda with your 24, all of you can you can see that near the top of the stairs as you're winding through, and you're kind of seeing where the stairs are even cut through parts of the rock, so you're kind of going through this narrow channel. The stairs are wide enough that you could walk 2 or 3 abreast. You can hear where the wind seems to be coming from above, from the Storval Plateau, moving through what appears to be a cave right up near the top that you're heading towards, a very tall cave. And then the wind sort of wends its way down the stairs a little bit and through this channel where you all are walking. And you smell the unmistakable odors of death, blood, decay. But you also smell odors of filth, interlaced with a strong odor of roasting meat.
Oh my god.
So this is a 5-star air troll and B.
Force an AT and B.
As you come up to the entrance to this cave, you see that it is a you kind of come in around through the main entrance. It's a little narrower through here, and it kind of moves around at an angle, and you can see that where it curves around, it's going to open up to your left, and you can hear sounds in there of something or someone moving around. How do you wish to approach?
Flip is going to speak from the diaphragm. He is going to speak in Jotun. And he is going to say, "Hail, trolls! It is I, Flip the Mighty, well known throughout the lands, here to talk to the king about his power and whatnot. This is my entourage. They will be entering as well. Great wealth and power is already yours, but perhaps safety and whatnot as well. I'm a prince."
Teera laughs, and nobody else understands this, right? You hear Teera kind of scoff and like shake her head.
Wait, this is in Jordan? Like this is
Jotun.
Jotun.
Giant speak.
Jotun.
Who among you... So, Marda, I guess, would be the one I need to ask. What languages do you speak?
Marda speaks. Let me look. How do you find that?
It's under
While
details.
M is looking up their languages, check us out on spring.com. Teespring.com. Pop, pop, pop.
Where do you find that? Because I want to look too.
Details.
Common,
Also,
halfling, and goblin, actually.
Okay.
awesome.
So
That's good to know.
all of you hear parts of the response. The reason you hear parts of the response is because the response that's coming, there are two people that are talking. And they are speaking in a sort of mixture, switching various words between Goblin, Jotun, and Orcish.
Whoa.
Does Flip speak Orc?
You know that he does, Jake.
Goblin?
that he does.
I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't want to make assumptions.
He speaks Goblin. He hears it.
So anybody that speaks Goblin and Orc picks up about 2/3 of it, or if you speak Goblin, or if you speak all three, you can hear everything. If you only speak one of those, Marda, I think it was Goblin, so you're only getting about every third word.
I speak
Teera,
Orcish.
I'm getting like two-thirds of it.
yeah,
I
you're
speak
getting about
Jotun and
2/3.
Orcish.
Vornush'ka is probably getting about 1/3. Flip is hearing everything. In response to this, you hear a clattering of something, sticks or bones, you're not sure. And then you hear the two voices speak. And Flip, you hear the entirety of this.
What is that? What did it say? What did it say? I don't know. How am I supposed to know? I'll go check. The skull takers are not going to want just anybody up there. I don't want to check. I'm eating. I'm going to check. But I was eating. Give me that leg of human.
And you hear the sound of something ripping. And then you hear heavy footsteps moving towards this opening. And you sense a shadow from whatever light source is coming through. The voice seems to echo around inside a large space in here. And then you hear both voices say, not in unison,
Show yourself. Show yourself. What he said.
Flip is showing himself.
I would
Not like fully.
you like
would
peeking
say-
around, or you just
No,
stepping
he's
in
like
there?
he shows himself.
Just not full Monty is what you meant.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
This isn't Absalom, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I would stand behind him and cross my arm and flex a little bit.
Hello.
As you step
and-
around, you see a very large figure that looks more ogreish than well, it doesn't even look entirely ogurely. It looks like somebody described ogres to somebody and then told them to go make an ogre. And then they made it very broad-shouldered, and for some reason they gave it 2 heads. And in one hand is holding a charred chunk of meat, like almost like a club, and the other hand a flail is dangling from it. As the heads look at you and say,
What do you want?
Okay. So Flip is going to be using all 3 languages. And he's going to say, Flip, name me. Prince, speak to Troll King. Big Chief, Big Cheese. Leader, Chieftain, Big Guy, or Gal, or neither. Big Creature, Big Boss.
I would like you to make a... I would like you to make a charisma check.
Oh man, don't be afraid to use those tomes
At
either.
the end, don't forget he shouts, I'm a prince. So I can use my deception, right? Because I have the charming liar feat.
That's
Oh.
fair. Gary knows the rules.
So, yeah.
Great. And the tomes give me the ability to re-roll, right?
A single tome gives you the ability to re-roll and take the new roll.
Okay, great.
But you can do the other roll first, so it's like super powerful, bro.
Right. Totes.
Yeah.
That is a 29.
Ooh.
Wow. I rolled a nat 20. Just I wanted to see out of curiosity, because you're actually trying to beat their wisdom DC. I keep forgetting we don't have contested rolls here. When you say all this, you see the 2 heads kind of looking at each other like they're conferring with one another.
Did it say prince? Little goblin prince.
They both look at you.
You no try to bribe.
Does that mean you want me to bribe you? Or you don't want me to bribe you? This is a very confusing way to say that.
No, do not bribe. If you
No, I'm a prince.
If you prince, Gwazul, king, we want to talk to you.
Love to talk to Quetzal. Love it.
I'm kind
This-
of like nodding to Marda and Vornush'ka, knowing they don't understand a ton of this conversation, and I'm just like, like it's going
These,
well. And
these,
Kane.
these are my humble servants. Bow. All of you bow.
Yes, and I am the first guard of his king prince.
Vornush'ka.
Not just the first guard, the best guard, baby. Woo!
Vornush'ka,
Ooh.
Vornush'ka, since you opened your mouth, I am going to make you make a deception check. I will give you a +2 circumstance bonus for
Let's go.
Flip's successful deception.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was on an 8, then it turned to a 16, so it was a 26 plus what?
+2.
28.
You see the one hand takes a bite out of this burnt human leg, and as you say this, you see the hand just sort of do one of these kind of salutes to you, then look back at you, Flip.
We take you.
Great.
Gorger and Chaw, take you.
Gorger and Shaw.
Forger and Shaw.
Right on.
You follow. No
Oh,
funny
yes.
business.
No funny business. Teera,
Yeah.
And a Flip is going to look expectantly up at her.
Yeah.
This is the
But-
part where you pick me up and carry me reverently on your shoulder.
I put my arm down for Flip to grab onto. And if he does, I just kind of like lift him up. Like,
No,
like-
on your shoulder.
I know, but
I'm not riding you like a horse. You're carrying me on your shoulder like a prince.
I
There
carry
you go.
on my shoulder.
A little bit more reverently, maybe. There you go.
Posture.
Perfect.
Chin up.
Perfect. No, the pinky is perfection. All right, Gorger and what did they say their names were? Gorger
Chaw.
and Chop.
Gorger and Chaw.
Gorger and Chaw. We're coming, Gorger and Chaw. And then as Teera begins walking, Flip looks back at Marda and Vornush'ka and goes,
I think Marda leans into Vornush'ka. He is loving this a little bit too much.
Yes, he is. Let him have it. It seems to be working. Do you want to be carried?
Marda. I'm all right. I can keep up.
Okay, if you insist.
As you follow along behind Gorger and Chaw, the Etten, they lead you up through this tall cave. As they lead you through, you can see where there's a stack of charred human corpses, half-eaten crag cats, and what remains of a bear carcass, various things that Gorger and Chaw have hunted and killed, or have been given to them. You're not sure. But they are leading you through all of this, and you continue upward a little more, up a few more steps, until you come out of the cave at the top of Skull's Crossing. You can see down a couple 100 feet into this valley. You are looking at off on the well, I guess as you're looking down would be off to your left, the Kriegwood that you came from. You're high enough up you can see way off in the distance where Clay Bottom Lake is, and you know that Turtleback Ferry is on the shore. To your right you can see Kriegwood would be on your right. To the left you see the vast Ashwood. Immediately to your left and right, rising on either side, is the Wyvern Mountains. But perhaps even more impressive is behind you, where you see that Skull's Crossing, this ancient Thessalonian ruin, is holding back the waters of the Storval Deep. From this position, it's almost like looking across the sea that opens up from between the mountains, and you can see the distant Storval Plateau beyond that. Gorger and Chaw. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say at a couple of points, Teera would forget almost that she has Flip, and she would like turn fully and be facing these like crazy sights. And I imagine Flip once or twice has to remind her to like stay on the road.
And you can also see in the middle of the dam a massive structure. You can see this from below as well, but the middle of the dam has a large building structure on it that's also comprised of these ancient carved skulls. And as you get closer and as you're walking across it, you see that the walls along the edges here and this building everywhere seem to be not just carvings of human skulls, but it looks as if human skulls were embedded into like bricks into the mortar of the construction of this. And you realize as you're walking along the top of this dam, the sort of cobblestone surface of this, every once in a while, you see a cobblestone turn sideways, looking like the cobblestones are in fact petrified skulls that this whole thing is paved with. Hundreds and thousands of skulls. And Gorger and Shaw lead you to the massive doors, double doors, on this structure. There's a set of double doors to the right on the side of the valley, and a set of double doors on the left on the side of Storval Deep, and it's to these that you are being led.
Vornush'ka looks down at Marda. It says, "Seems a little excessive. Be ready."
It appears as though they also have a flair for the dramatic, no? Maybe them and Flip will get along swimmingly.
As if in answer to when you say the flair for the dramatic, Gorger and Chaw reach to the two handles and grab the doors and just throw them wide open. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Ooh! Ooh! Come on!
So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and take about a 10-minute break, and when we get back, we'll see how troll negotiations go.
We're so deep into this now. If this does not go the way we want it to, we are fucked.
You could even say you're Storval deep. That was bad. That was terrible.
That was amazing.
On that terrible pun, we're going to go ahead and take our break. And we're back. Yes, there we go. All right. As Gorger and Chaw the Etten throws open the doors, they walk in through the doors into the inner chamber of, or an inner chamber of this large structure on top of the dam. And you enter what looks to be a recent scene of a battle. There is both brackish, sort of almost a red-black ogre blood in pools on the floor, on the walls, on the ceiling, intermingled with a brilliantly hued green troll blood. You see a handful of trolls that are they look like they've been dismembered and then burned. And you see a good half a dozen ogres, all dead, piled on the the northern portion of this large room. This room is about 60 feet across and 60 feet deep. You can see where these ogres are piled up. There's an alcove about 20 feet in diameter, jutting out over the edge of the dam with tall windows in it, an observation deck of sorts, looking out over the Storval Deep. But these ogres are kind of blocking the view partway, as there's a couple of them are stacked like this, and some on the sides, and a couple more along the back. The doors across from where you are open, and you can hear the sounds of the ogres that are working out on the bridge on the other end. And as the doors fling open and Gorger and Chaw walk into the room, you hear...
me. It's always me.
You see a massive broad, greenish blue-hued skin troll seated atop the ogres, the dead ogres, like he's made a throne of their bodies. Leaning next to it is the gigantic jawbone of some once massive creature that looks, you can see where the leather's been wrapped around the narrow end, and this appears to be this Troll King's makeshift weapon.
Teera would at this point kind of like kneel down, like sort of like, have you ever seen like that statue of Atlas? Like that, and she kind of like has like this like very discus, so Flip can essentially just like walk down off of her arm.
Flip is going to make an acrobatics check to slide
my.
down Tira's arm like a railing.
Holy shit. Like Tarzan in Disney's Tarzan?
Yeah. I'm going to use a tome.
For flair.
Use it. Do it.
29.
Yes.
It's done.
It is done.
As you do this, you hear this Troll King bellow out in Jotun.
Gorge!
Followed immediately by the heavy thumping of troll feet approaching. You see the band of trolls running along the top through the open doors, heading this way, as the Troll King turns to Gorger and Chaw.
What vermin have you led into the Skulltaker's lair?
Vornush'ka does a how do we get each other's attention, Teera and Orcish?
I imagine there is some kind of like an Orcish like signal word that is sort of universal across tribes. Like,
Okay.
It's kind of, yeah. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Vornush'ka's gonna say that word or utter that grunt. And it
Mhm.
comes off like a grunt.
Mhm.
And
Teera recognizes it.
if Teera looks back over her shoulder, she'll see Vornush'ka kind of stepping forward, kind of with a, be ready for anything type of
I nod.
look.
I
As you-
nod in such a way that kind of also says, like, wait until we absolutely have to, kind of a communication.
Yeah. And Vornush'ka's always, because she's a war general, is like, she's used to saying, like, hold. So, and so she's like, yeah, of course.
Yep.
As you're having this silent communication, Gorger and Chaw steps forward and drops to a knee.
My king, Gazul, the little prince.
And motions to you, Flip. And Grazul, the Troll King, looks at you, Flip. Cocks his head to one side, and then
A goblin prince?
Yeah.
Vornush'ka kind of does a yes and like steps up to Flip and like behind him, like as a guard, as of like
Mhm.
one like here to
Oh,
protect.
okay.
keep in
On the other
mind,
shoulder where Teera is.
Marda and Vornush'ka, you are unable to understand what is being said. And
But I can
Never
read body language though,
underestimate
right?
the importance of body language.
I'm speaking of languages.
Or "Brr."
Kane seems to understand. But yes, Flip, he is laughing at you and follows it up immediately by,
This little one would barely serve as an appetizer.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Goblin
Teera-
Prince.
Teera's nuts.
And Grazul, I have heard of your great works here at the dam. And I thought we could talk, chat it out. And I feel like somebody wants to tell me something and they're typing really fast. So let's hope they
No.
just inspiration. Great.
Encouragement.
But I'm waiting for some sage wisdom to add to my role play, and it's like, come on, Flip, you can do it.
That's literally what it says.
Tira's literally
Okay.
Tira's literally Rob Schneider in all the Adam Sandler's movies.
Puff out your chest, take a deep breath.
Or-
You'll go,
You
"No."
can do
I
it.
have seen your work here with the bridge and the other and the dam, and I must say, I am impressed.
It's very
Your
true.
Majesty is mythical, one might say. And I would also add that your flair, the ogre throne, is unmatched. I have come to pay respects on behalf of my father, and thought maybe I could help you in some way. As an envoy or a hype man, or I'm a great singer, well known for my writing. You might have heard of me. I don't know.
As you're talking, Flip, all of you see the other trolls make their way to the door, and you see the first two trolls through the door are much larger than the other two, or other four, and they come quickly in and move to flanking positions on either side of the Troll King. The other four move in behind the rest of you to the southern end of this room, which sort of goes like this, and they spread out. All of them just standing there. You can hear their teeth grinding. I would like you, Flip. So we're entering into essentially a skill challenge of my own devising.
Oh, God.
You are in a position where you have to attempt to sway the Troll King. They are currently considered hostile toward you. Or, correction, they are currently considered unfriendly towards you. You will be attempting to move them to, at the very least, indifferent or friendly, possibly even helpful, through a series of negotiations of your own devising. Others can attempt to assist, depending on their ways in which they are assisting. They can provide you with a situation bonus or circumstance bonus. So as we enter into this, and the guards take up their positions on either side, I first need you to make a... Where did it go? Where did it go? Okay, here we go. I need you to make a... will save versus the guard's intimidation.
A will save versus the guard's intimidation. Okay. I would like to re-roll that. 20.
The two guards standing on either side, you can see as they are looking at you, they clench and unclench their clawed hands You see them as they clench them. They dig their claws into the palms of their hands, drawing blood. And as they withdraw them, you see the wounds heal themselves. And they keep doing this over and over. And you see saliva just dripping like a dog that smells food cooking. It is quite an imposing sight. And you will have a -4 circumstance penalty on your first negotiation check.
My prince.
Yeah, what's up?
Um, Can we meet with the guard, your royal guard, for a moment?
Oh yeah, sure. Maybe what you can do is you can lean over me and talk to me from behind while I continue to face the king.
I say, I think we need a 4-person. Your guard consists of all of the people here, Your Majesty.
Well, I mean, everyone's my servant. What's your point?
But, my liege.
Yeah.
You, my God, and I'm leaning down and I'm bowing down like as to show honor and pressure.
Yeah.
We should probably talk with Teera and Marda to get on the same page to figure out what we should do in this situation.
What are you whispering about?
You hear in Jotun. And
They
I
are
do
debating
need,
about which
before,
of our prince's great deeds to
before-
share with you first.
before anybody says anything,
Sorry.
I still need Flip to make his first check from that grand speech as he entered in.
That with a -4 penalty is a 30 deception.
Damn!
Well done.
30
Scary.
deception. Let me find our... Where is my...
Only a 15 in Pathfinder.
All right,
when you
so-
get-
Don't minimize this, Ricky.
That first
Just saying.
check is a success.
That check is going right up on the fridge.
Yeah, it's a fridger.
Put it right up there.
Gone with big ass crayons.
Yup.
At which point, so that was for your first check. This is where, for a couple moments, Vornush'ka's talking, and then Grazul says,
What are you whispering about?
in Jotun?
And Flip says, Mighty Grazul, this one was raised on or in a barn. I haven't really figured it out. Don't know the courtly requirements that you and I of noble bearing are used to. Be gone, Vornush'ka, be gone.
What does the blood axe tell me to do?
Oh my, don't ask the blood axe his opinion right now.
It's
Fuck.
So, Marda, sorry, I looked at Marda's name on the side chat. Vornush'ka, as you turn your attention to the blood axe, all you feel emanating from the blood axe is, I can best describe it as, it is quivering with excitement. You are in a room surrounded by the blood of slain creatures, recently slain creatures.
Oh.
The scene of a battle. And the blood axe feels both regret at not having been a part of it, but as the Troll King, his 2 guards, and the 4 other trolls file into the room, the blood axe feels there's still a chance to feast.
Okay.
What do you want me to? I'm gonna roll willpower.
I would like
Is it
you
okay?
to roll.
You tell me to roll. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like you to roll a. It would be a
Sorry,
will
keep-
save. It's not Call of
Okay.
Cthulhu, so it's not willpower.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm
Roll a
sorry,
power
man.
check.
It is a will save, though.
Okay. $19. It was 18, then it rolled to 5. So, but I got plus 14 on will. So.
Okay. So you feel as you're holding this blood axe, standing there next to Flip, who is speaking in Jotun to this Troll King, you feel those thorns in the handle of the blood axe slowly pressing into your hands.
Yeah.
And you feel the blood axe beginning to whisper in your mind.
No.
We can take them all. So much blood.
And the blood axe kind of makes sense. It's tapping into your warrior sensibility.
Yeah. And it even more so, when you're looking for your cell phone and then your cell phone's in your hand while you're looking for it, you didn't realize that it was in your hand. That's how this blood axe feels. As it's like, I'm a chieftain. I am responsible for thousands of lives. And I'm trying to be good.
Does
Get
Teera notice
buffed,
Vornush'ka getting tense?
and I get embarrassed at every suggestion and everything I try to do that is good, and it only seems that the path of blood works.
Oh.
This feels very anime. Like Vornush'ka's having this anime aside.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of this. I'm sorry. That's right. Jeez, I'm sorry.
Now, so
I've been trying so much to be good, but I'm just failing all the time.
you've
And this background blurs and like wind.
So this is the first effects of the blood axe is attempting to exert its force, and it's think of it like an arm wrestling match. It hasn't just immediately bested you, but it currently has the upper hand in this contest of wills as Flip continues his negotiations or flattery or whatever you're trying to do. You do see Flip that you made a little bit of. The Troll King seems to be willing to listen as he kind of releases his tension and kind of sits back, putting his arms up so they're on the heads of two dead ogres as he just sort of absent-mindedly strokes their heads.
And real quick, Vornush'ka stands up from Flip. It's just very well, Malish, and grips the thorn of her axe very tightly as little blood droplets come out of her knuckles as she grips her axe.
Can Marda put a hand on Vornush'ka? Is this obvious that Vornush'ka's about to
slowly? Okay.
I mean, you can literally see and probably hear that sound of the hands gripping tightly on the handle of the blood axe. See the knuckles lightening up as Vornush'ka is clearly tensing for action. So
yeah, and the way she's looking at these trolls, with their posturing of their it's even drives more that urge.
Ooh. Ooh. So this is all for never mind. Actually.
Do it.
Now maybe later. But you see Marda put a hand on Vornush'ka's tensed forearm, I imagine. And if Vornush'ka looks, you just see Marda just shaking her head, trying to. Actually, you know what? I do think that she is going to do it. So she is going to cast He is going to cast lifelink on Vornush'ka.
Oh yes.
So,
I have to ask, what
Yes.
are the actually I have this at my hands here, so let me
are you asking what the?
yeah,
It's just
like
some.
what does it do? What's the word I'm looking for?
That's funny.
Okay, this is what I want. I can't think what they're called. Okay, it's somatic. There's no verbal.
No, it's just somatic. Yeah, it's just somatic.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So I
you
imagine
can cast
it's
it.
I imagine it's like the placing of the hands on Vornush'ka, and so Vornush'ka, you feel this connection of life energy between Marda and Vornush'ka, and you see that where you were gripping the blood axe and where you had put in that the bleeding from gripping it so hard, you see the wounds begin to appear on Marda's hand as well. She's trying to because she knows that Vornush'ka doesn't value her own life nearly as much, so she's trying to be like, hey, if you go crazy, I'm going to die as well, as she kind of makes that precedent.
So all of this is happening within moments, sort of in between Flip's negotiations. I do want you, Marda, to make, if you would have attempted to do it sort of on the sly, I would like a stealth check.
Come on in. We have
Okay.
31 tomes. I think we fucking burn them all if we have to, guys. This is important.
With the tomes, can I roll after I see the result?
Yeah.
Is that okay,
Well-
just making sure.
We burn the tomes to kill the trolls, right?
No,
Yeah.
not necessarily.
I got a 22.
Oh.
Let me just check here. I'm trying to find their stats. There it is. A 22, you said. So the I will tell you that would be a fail for the Troll King.
Ah,
Oh, man.
So you can attempt to re-roll that if you think you can score higher.
yes. Yeah, I didn't roll very high, so I think I can roll higher.
Are you trying to calm me down?
Yeah, she's trying to make you.
Think about somebody beside yourself.
Yeah, she's trying to snap you out of whatever thing you got going right now.
So
Okay.
Remember when Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer, used to go
so if
that's what Marda's doing.
you're gonna re-roll, you can do that.
Yeah. Okay, I will.
Okay.
It's a 28.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a
That
fail.
seems better. No.
No.
Yes. And so
This doesn't.
You
This
were,
isn't a fail to something you did, Vornush'ka.
oh, I know. I just want to articulate what it feels like touching Vornush'ka. It feels like touching a wire that's like an extension cord plugged in that's submerged underwater, so you get a little 110 volts of energy, kind of like it doesn't hurt, but it's and
Yeah.
that's the it feels like when you touch Vornush'ka's arm, you're just touching a whole bunch of steel coiled ropes wrapped around. That's how tense she's holding this axe right now, and she's breathing and breathing.
And as you cast this spell, the Troll King Grazul, Flip, you see his attention diverted for a moment, as he suddenly sits forward and says,
Spell mage! Keep your magic hands to yourself.
he says in Jotun, and then he says to the other trolls in the room,
Watch this one.
and he is no longer relaxed, and is back to unfriendly.
Because I understood that sentence, I would say to Vornush'ka, I'm like, Vornush'ka, you are being watched.
So we're stretching the bounds of what can happen in the space of a few seconds. As we're gonna get back to Flip, who is trying to negotiate while you all are trying to undermine him, apparently.
You know,
I'm trying to help.
And just because I know it will agitate you, you missed the DC by 1.
Oh,
you know,
No.
King Grizul, you gotta tell you can't find good servants these days. They're all uppity and trying to do things, interrupting me, talking to me. This one's cast. It's just. Anyway, I know you know what I'm talking about, and he sort of glances to one of the trolls behind him. He's gonna say, you know, I really like what you've done with the place. It's got a really intense vibe. It has good energy or bad energy, depending on what you're looking. You know, I'm sure there are some really good really good energies here that benefit you, you know, ley lines and whatnot. I'd like to make an occultism check to see if I can sell him on my knowledge of whatever I just said.
There is an occultism check. What?
Yeah.
I thought you were joking for a second.
No, there's an occultism check.
I'm looking. I see it. Did not know that.
Well, it's a skill challenge. I assume I have to use different skills.
Yes, I will allow that occultism check.
Gregor, right? That is a 27.
Damn, Gary is so powerful. None of us should get in Gary's way.
That is exactly the DC.
That's a Pathfinder 12. Remember that.
But let me ask you. Did you add the -4 for the intimidation of the guards?
No, because you said it was only on the first check, so I only did it on deception.
You know what? I
And,
did say that. So, 27 stands. As you talk about the energies, and as you're saying all this about like complimenting him, you can see that he's sort of puffing up a little bit, sitting a little taller in his throne, leaning back a little bit, and kind of looking around at the carnage that was wrought in this room. And when you mention energies, he says,
Yes. We have decorated in the blood of our enemies, the Krieg ogres, and it was a glorious fight. But something stirs below, and we don't like it. Something sinister. We don't understand it.
Well, I tell you what, King Grizul, you know what? I think, as you can tell from this point, I understand a lot of things. I have a varied background of stuff and things, and I don't like sinister either. Maybe we can help each other. I know, on the one hand, it is odd that someone so small as me might be able to help one so mighty as you, but I would entreat you to use your wisdom and leverage the opportunity that synergy may provide. And we can liaise together and perhaps solve the conundrum that faces you about the sinisterity down below. Is that maybe something we could talk about? And I will say, you may not know this about me because I'm not sure you've heard of me here up in the mountains, but I am one of the foremost legal scholars in Absalom. And I got to tell you, your legal claim on this area is unquestionably strong. I would be happy to defend your claim in any court in the land, because this is, I tell you what, it's one of my hobbies, reading the laws and the Coderificus Reximus, and 100%. It's great. You've done really well to solidify your claim on this area, not just with your immense strength, but also with your immense wits.
What is your charisma DC?
My
So
charisma
much.
DC.
So it would be
I don't know
your
what that
your
is.
total charisma score plus 10.
My spell attack is 26.
Not spell attack. Your charisma DC.
I don't know what that is.
That's your charisma
Your
score
score.
plus 10.
My charisma score plus 10 is 28.
Okay. That's the DC I'm trying to beat to see if you are thoroughly confusing these trolls with all of your words.
Flip is using a lot of words with more than 3 syllables.
Oh, my
I will throw
word.
that out there.
You said your DC was what?
28.
This is where you choose the tome, my dear.
We can't use a tome because there's no dice roll
can't.
involved.
There's no rule.
Great googly boogly.
We can make the
21.
DM de-roll,
25.
re-roll if we need to.
That
But I
sounds
don't
like
think we'll need to.
I'm with that
And
plan. We should definitely do
okay.
that.
We'll see.
the
I'm gonna hold the mic when I talk to
the
you.
four
Yeah, okay, so-
trolls that had moved into position behind all of you are cocking their heads. Kind of, the more Flip talks, they're looking at one another, scratching their heads. One of them kind of elbows the other one, and Teera, you hear in Jotun behind you.
What the fuck is he talking about? I don't understand those words.
The tiniest smile reaches Tira's face.
But the two bodyguards both rolled. You said it was 28 was your DC,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
They both rolled 19 with a +9 on will. They seem to scowl a little bit at you, but they are standing firm next to Grazul. What check are you making? What skill are you using?
Lore legal, as one of the foremost legal minds on the continent. I
That's a
think
skill check?
I'm
expressing
going
my-
to give
Lore can be a
you.
lot of
Lore.
things.
I'm
Yeah, I
going to
see it.
give you
See
a
it.
+4 circumstance bonus because you've confused 4 trolls with your legalese as you make this check.
Flip past the bar on his first try.
I would like to use a tome.
Attaboy.
Yes, burn those
Uh,
tomes.
That is a 31.
Okay.
Damn, son.
Grazul is listening impatiently. You can see his fingers drumming on the head of these ogres that are the armrests. And the look he's giving you is the look of somebody that doesn't fully understand what you're saying, but hears the import and sees the value of you as somebody that knows what you're talking about.
So what you're saying is because we possess the dam. We own the dam.
Damn right.
And
Mike
nobody
Mick's
can
right.
take it away from us.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Nobody can take it away from you. However, from a legal perspective, you do have a responsibility to maintain the dam for all users. So what I mean to say is, let's say, just for argument's sake, that you left the floodgates open, right? And potentially harming people downriver.
Wow.
Not saying you would do that, just saying, just as an example, like right off the top of my head. Now, if you did that, yes, you own the dam, but then the people who might be affected by your problems with the dam might then have a claim to try and take it away from you. However, if you maintained the dam and sort of maintained the floodgates and ensure they were closed, and you can build the bridge as long as it didn't affect the structure of the dam, and you would have a very strong claim. And in fact, I, as one of the foremost legal scholars on the continent, would be happy to defend your claim for you in any court in the land.
What are you attempting?
I am going to add something. And you know, my father once said, with great power comes great responsibility. One of the ancient goblins in my lineage was a very powerful goblin shaman. And he would commune with the gods. And he would say, we must do what's best for us. Always. But what's best for us is not always what's best for us. I would like to make a goblin lore bardic knowledge check.
Okay.
I'm like so impressed about how you circled it back to the freaking whatever the town was downstream.
That's a 30 goblin lore, bardic lore. Goblin lore.
Okay, so before you started talking, you had already beat this skill challenge. But you insisted on continuing to talk.
Oh.
And with that, what, 30 what?
30.
With that 30, and bringing up the names of supposedly famous goblins, King Grazul looks at you and says,
I am king because I am not stupid. I have outlived all before me in the Skull Takers clan. I know how to survive. And I know the importance of having those you trust around you. I see the wisdom in the words you speak. We do not go below. We know nothing of the machinery that controls this dam. There is something that stirs down there. You and your servants may go below. Negotiate with the demon. We will not get in your way. But if you get underfoot, Goblin, you might get crushed.
And then he turns, before you can even speak, he turns to the others
and says, "Get your asses back to work."
You managed to move the
You
needle
did it!
from unfriendly to helpful.
Well, you
Even with Marda inadvertently causing a failure.
Well, I think that was more Vornush'ka than Marda.
It was Marda's spell casting. Because I had a note that there would be, if spellcasting was obvious, that it was potential to upset the trolls, and you did just miss it by 1 on that second roll. His perception DC was a 29. So,
Yes. Oh my god, yes, we did it. Flip, you did it.
the Troll King Grazul turns to Gorger and Chaw, who is still kneeling. And the two heads are looking up, almost like a dog that is waiting to be punished.
Doing the eyebrow thing.
And Grazul says,
"Gorger and Shaw, you will escort them."
and Gorger and Chaw bows deeply and stands and says,
"Yes, all right. Yes, we will take them."
and looks at you and says,
Follow.
And he's going to Flip is going to turn around to his servants, and he's going to say, "Okay," and he's going to accept Teera's help and hop back up on her shoulder, and he's going to say, "Now we walk backwards. We continue to face the king. We continue to face the king. We continue to face the king. We continue to face the king, and now we turn around."
Gorger and Chaw, are you leaving the room?
Yeah, we're following Gorger and Chaw, so.
Okay, so you're actually moving not out of this chamber through the way you came in,
Yeah.
but towards the back of the chamber where there's a couple sets of doors. And
Okay.
they lead you through a set of double doors, then through another door, and you are now standing on the southern observation deck. So you can see that through these tall windows. You have a view looking out into the valley below, where Turtleback Ferry lies in the distance. And because of the nature of the dam, it's steep, but the bottom kind of sticks out a little further. You can see below you those skulls, and you can hear the grinding of the gears. Gorger and Chaw turn to the northern wall, and they open another set of double doors that lead down into darkness, but you can hear water sloshing below. The sound of the grinding machinery is a little bit louder. And Marda, I would like you to make a religion check for me. If you have, what type of, if any, religion lore do you have? Or do you? Like a lore
Demon
skill.
Detection.
I don't. My lore skill's actually in academia.
Okay. So, yes, I would like you to make a religion check, please.
Oh, religion check. Oh, no, don't mind if I do.
33.
What was that?
33.
Damn.
Flip, you can make a religion check too if you want.
I got 19.
Well,
You don't notice anything.
you've done all you needed to do.
Marda, as the doors open and you hear the sound of the sloshing water and the grinding gears below, and you see into the damp darkness, underlying all of those sounds is another sound. A sort of I can't even think of the word I want to use for this, but I guess with that 33, the sound brings forth images of fire and brimstone. Images, it calls forth memories of either studies or perhaps even dabbling in the hells. And the sound that you hear is the plaintive sighing of a fiend. And that's where we're going to end this session.
Oh,
Super duper.
Marda's gonna go through some shit. Happy day. And Flip did it.
Flip, amazing negotiations.
Wow.
Hmm.
Never knew Flip was such a predominant legal mind.
I'm
Ne-
sweaty.
Never
May
have I been more
commend
sure.
Vornush'ka's control as well.
Never have I been more sure that somebody has knowledge and experience in city government.
Don't fight the system, Jake. Fuck
No,
the system.
So, I don't know if you said it and then deleted it, but it still showed up on my phone. Something about, after last week's session, about better make a skill challenge because I'm going to negotiate the crap out of these trolls.
Yeah, I did. I did delete it.
Because I went back looking for it and I'm like, I can't find it. But I took your challenge. And
I didn't want to, like, tell you how to run your game. That's why I
no,
did
that
it.
was. I had the impression that you guys were going to go that way anyway, but I took it to heart because I do like a good skill challenge. Skill challenges don't technically exist outside of 4th edition D&D, but I bring them into my games when I can. And I took, there's basically a disposition, an attitude score that all creatures can have that ranges from hostile to unfriendly to indifferent to friendly to helpful. And pretty much all creatures fall on this spectrum when you're dealing with them. I just used a combination of Grazul's stats along with those and created a scale of DCs, a starting point, and you had to get 3 successes before you got 3 failures. And you did it handily.
Easy.
If you had critically succeeded, it would have still counted as a success, but it would move it forward 2 spaces. Critical failure would have moved it in the other direction, but only counted as 1. I'm going to use this as a model for future skill challenges. That's why I'm explaining it to you. But I enjoyed creating that. I enjoyed the interaction, and I didn't mean to kind of cut you away from that, Ricky.
It's fine. No, it's perfect.
We were definitely stretching the limits of what could happen in a few seconds, so I wanted to make sure that we stayed in that. But you are.
I was just adding flair. That's all.
Are well. Your flair has Vornush'ka currently losing a mental battle with the blood axe.
That's
I
fine.
feel like Vornush'ka's going down a bad path, man.
Yeah, and speaking of a dark path, that's where you all are going to start heading down, where Marda senses some kind of fiend.
Heading down into the devil's colon.
Drums in the deep.
Pretty much.
Yes.
All right, well,
Yes.
thank you all so much. It was great to have almost everybody back tonight. And thank you to everybody who tuned in watching with us. If you are somebody that watches silently, or maybe you're watching later on the VOD, know that we appreciate you as well and hope you enjoy our games. We enjoy sharing them with you. Special shout out to those people who support with sharing bits, tips, and I just had a stupid thing. Bits, tips, and scripts. With you support with your bits, tips, and scripts, with your subscriptions, whatnot. We appreciate that as well. Be sure to tune in for Wednesday night for our next game, Call of Cthulhu, and Thursday for Kids on Bikes. With that, I just want to say, oh, look at that. Getting in that last minute replenishment of one of those domain tomes.
There you go.
Giving it
Is
back.
that an apology, Em?
Yeah.
So-
That's the
so
most
thank you.
Canadian thing you've done in a long time.
Thank you to, as I said, to everybody here, but most importantly, thank you to these incredible players and friends that I get to share this virtual gaming table with. Huge thank you to Gary, Cari, M, Ricky, and though he wasn't with us, he's with us in spirit, Dwight, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
Ta-ta-ta.
Ta-ta-ta.